Can you start?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to this presentation whose title is Building Resilience, Perspective from Chile, Japan, and the Netherlands. I'm Cesar Noriega from the UCEAP Chile and Argentina Study Center, and I'm going to be presenting with Tenil Jones from the Tokyo Study Center in Japan, Carla Keys from the Netherlands Study Center. Thank you for joining us today. At the end of this presentation, there's going to be time for questions and answers. Okay, definitions of resilience. Resilience can have different meanings depending on the context to which it's referring to. First, dictionary definition says an ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. While in the context of higher education, it means a personality characteristic that moderates the negative effects of stress and promotes adaptation, said by Pigeon et al. From a psychological perspective, it can be understood as a trait that people either have or do not have. It can be learned and developed in anyone. While Everson points out that to achieve resilience, there must be a threat to the development of some aspects of life and positive adaptation to this adverse situation. The takeaway from all these views of resilience is that it is a skill that helps us to cope with the negative effects of stress and adapt to a new cultural environment. Now we're moving on to discuss the description of factors that affect resilience according to an article whose title is Finding a New Normal, Factors Affecting Resilience of Female Burmese International Students at a Chinese University, written by Aje Chonchou Mo. The Organization on Development Resources defined a resilient person as being positive about life and themselves, flexible in thoughts and social relations, and could be described as concentrated, organized, and proactive. The resilient person stands out for being optimistic. This is that they think they can overcome unavoidable obstacles in the future and that setbacks are only temporary. Goal setting promotes purpose and agency. It is what sustains people's energies toward performing a particular task and achieving a successful outcome. Whilst self-confidence is believing in one's capacity to accomplish what one wishes to do in the future. People with a strong self-confidence can effectively and efficiently solve everyday life problems and overcome many barriers that would otherwise prevent them from achieving their goals. Other internal or intrinsic factors affecting resilience are self-control, is the ability to wait longer or delay gratification to achieve a better, more positive outcome in the future. It is an essential component of the development of resilience. Endurance and persistence are needed to overcome obstacles and complete work successfully. Endurance is the personal strength for withstanding unpleasant or difficult situations without giving up, while persistence is the act of adhering to an opinion or course of action despite difficulty or opposition. While the extrinsic or external factors affecting resilience include perceived social support is a person's perception of physical and emotional care received from family, friends, and significant others. According to Pigeon et al., international students with lower resilience have reported lower perceived social support. And Cavazos said that international students whose parents strongly encourage their academic goals and are resilient. Thus, having a social network is a vital factor for the well-being of the students and their determination to accomplish goals in college. Spirituality and religious practices. Press and Keller defined spirituality as a human experience of discovering meaning, purpose, and values, which may or may not include the concept of a God or transcendent being. It can be a key factor for overcoming conditions caused by stress and protect when facing depression. Researchers as Ellison et al. And Yamamar have shown that religious practices have a positive correlation to a person's general well-being and enhance their resilience. These are the main problems during the studying abroad identified in the study of Aye Chonchon Mo in a group of Burmese female international students in a Chinese university. Language. Language indirectly increases the workload burden of international students. In the case study, students lack self-confidence in their language skills. In the study context, English was the medium of instruction, and Chinese was used for daily communication outside the classroom. The study noted that there was a gap between the language learned in the classroom and what was used to communicate in real situations. Academic problems concern curricular gaps, different teaching styles, and communication with their professors. Quote, these realities create stressful situations and make it more difficult for them, for the international students, to achieve their academic goal, according to the study author. Socialization is also a common problem faced by the subjects of this study who were in China. However, it can be extrapolated to many study abroad participants and contests. Having a friend abroad to tell them about their difficulties offers a vent to release stress and anxiety, commented some of the participants of this study, as well as keeping in communication with family and friends at home helped the participants of this study to obtain comfort and advice. Now let's analyze Chile and Argentina as study abroad locations. First, the UCEAP Chile and Argentina Study Center manages two immersion programs at Universidad de Chile and Pontifical Catholic University of Chile, one multi-site program between Buenos Aires and Santiago, and one special program between Santiago and Villarrica, a town in southern Chile. Most students stayed with host families that offer many students the chance to really immerse in the culture, help them to grow their Spanish skills, and offer commitment and company. However, for some students, it could be difficult to adapt to someone else's house rules and encourage them to learn faster new social and cultural norms to adapt to live with Argentinian and Chilean host families. The Chile and Argentina Study Center is based in Santiago at the Campus Oriente of Pontifical Catholic University of Chile, of which we present a photo of one of these beautiful patios. In recent years, we receive on average around 100 students among our different programs throughout the year. Here are the challenges of studying abroad in Chile. Outside the classroom, use of English is very limited. According to the online learning language academy Polyglotta, only 2% of Chileans are fully competent in English, and 72% have a basic English level. For UCEAP students with limited Spanish skills, it could be a source of frustration and fear of not being able to communicate in basic everyday situation. For example, using public transportation, buying at a store, and even more difficult to make friends. Someone new in a big city as Santiago requires an extra effort to make friends, overcoming the fear of communicating in a foreign language, learning the social and cultural codes in the context of social relationships, and finding where and how to socialize. It is a learning curve to understand how to use services that are essential for our everyday lives. For example, changing our diet to adapt to available products, how to reach your destination using the public transport system, what medicines to buy for minor ailments, and how to add credit to your cell phone. Creating a healthy routine with moments for resting, enjoying, exercising, and satisfying our personal needs is key to obtain the energy and drive to take on the challenges of achieving academic and professional goals in a different language and with new cultural norms. Now let's review the tools that we offer students to build their resilience. The pre-part or webinar orientations are opportunities to reduce the gap between the expectations and real conditions in the country. It should be used to discuss the challenges, resources, and preparation that the students will need for having a good start of their programs and instruction that will prove useful throughout their programs. It could be as simple as learning how the weather will be like so they know what to pack. On-site orientations are instances to go over in more detail about the cultural context, the rules of the programs, how to access help in case of emergencies, and as well as to offer opportunities for creating friends among the cohort of program participants. I remind students that during their stay in the country, they are building a small community, and a strong community is one where all the members look out for each other. Regular check-ins to learn how students are going with their classes, how is their health, what else are they doing, their impressions about living in the country, what have they found difficult to relate any bad experience, and what have they enjoyed so far. Using the services provided by host universities is a gateway for students to integrate in university life and have more opportunities to interact with local people and identify students with similar interests. The number 5 is connected to the previous one. It is important. It is the importance of creating a healthy balance between coursework and free time activities, including keeping a regular routine to socialize with their loved ones at home, UC peers, and friends that they have made in the country. Friendship with other international students is sometimes the easiest way to create your own support network and make friends with local people. I always remind them why they come to study here and their personal satisfaction of achieving their goals. The objectives that will have a more significant impact in our life are the ones that take us more effort and determination to obtain, and that's the value of studying abroad.
Good morning. This is Carla Kist, and I will give you some details, more practical details about building resilience in the Netherlands. Who am I? I am the program manager for UCEAP in the Netherlands. I'm coordinating 5 semester and year immersion programs in the Netherlands. I started in 2009 being the academic coordinator half-time. And the other half time, I was working as a coordinator of exchange programs at University College Utrecht. Since 2019, I'm the full-time program manager of UCEAP in the Netherlands. Before I started in 2009, there was a study center at UCU campus with a full-time office manager, a part-time academic coordinator, and a faculty director on site in the fall semester. Since 2009, there is not a real study center anymore. I just have my office still on the campus of University College Utrecht, and I'm representing UCEAP in the Netherlands. My role is similar to what Cesar was talking about, giving the UCEAP orientations, be part of the pre-departure webinars as well. At the beginning of the semester, I give those orientations in person. I have midterm meetings with all the students, and I give individual academic guidance during the semester or the year. And I'm, if necessary, a confidential person where it comes to emergency health and safety. This is more or less who I am and what I'm doing for UCEAP in the Netherlands. So there are different UCEAP programs in the Netherlands. I'm coordinating the 5 immersion programs, and they are located in Wageningen University, University College Utrecht, Utrecht University, University College Maastricht, and the School of Business and Economics. The Netherlands is a very small country. Maastricht University is in the very south of the Netherlands, bordering Belgium and Germany. North-south, the whole country is not more than 275 miles. East-west, in the west, we have the North Sea. On the east is Germany. and that is only about 200 miles. I'm visiting all the students in person, and it's very easy to travel around in the Netherlands from Utrecht to Maastricht. It is only 2 hours by train, very direct communication. So this is a difference where it comes to Chile and Argentina or Japan. I can just in person visit everyone. Before the pandemic, we had about 120 to 140 students per year. And now this year will be back to around 90 students for the whole year. There are a couple of other summer programs as well, but I'm not coordinating those ones. Yes, next slide, please. Okay, so study abroad, travel and move. What's happening for the students? Well, probably they will have quite many like negative feelings. They can be strong. Insecurity, anxiety, leaving home and friends, traveling on your own from the US to Europe, maybe for the first time, being far away from home, also for the first time, new experiences, things don't go very well in the beginning, things don't go very smoothly. After arrival, maybe a cultural and climate shock. The climate in the Netherlands is far different from the one in California. Stepping out of your comfort zone, there are students who really look forward to that. And the positive feelings, of course, before they go, but also when arriving, are excitement that gives them positive energy, meeting new people and friends, going out of your comfort zone for some students can be very nice. In general, and in other words, very mixed feelings is what the students have because of the traveling and the move to study abroad. Building resilience. Basically, I distinguish 3 periods, different times. So the first, like 8, 9, 10 years when I started working for UC California is different from the last one. I will go into detail in all those different periods. First of all, the first period, 2009 to 2019. In the first years until, say, 2017, 2018, UCEAP gave a mandatory 2 weeks course called Dutch Culture and Language, DCL, for all students, for all UCEAP students studying in the Netherlands. It consisted of lectures, a textbook about the Netherlands, culture, international relations, excursions, and I held my UCEAP orientation meeting during those 2 weeks. This helped the students a lot to adjust and start fresh with the host university introductions after that. My office was at the study center and students could come and see me after having made an appointment. Because of budget cuts, the course wasn't offered anymore after the academic year 2017-2018. Host universities, the last host university introductions, for that reasons, the last 2 years became the leading programs. The UCEAP orientation was still part of that. The guidance is still intensive. Then we have this very difficult time between 2020 and 2022, the pandemic. First of all, the spring 2020 cohort of UCEAP students, they had a very, very rough time because they had to go back home really quickly before all lockdowns were there. Okay, so that was very special, very specific. And then in 2020, 2021, there were no students abroad. Well, we used the time at UCEAP to reshuffle, to get connected with colleagues among each other online, finding out what we could do in this situation, etc. Then in the academic year 21-22, we had what I would call the first brave students abroad, because they took the risk, all the risks of being, well, getting COVID abroad, if not for not getting credits, for lockdowns, everything that could happen to them, and everything was online. So with a lot of hiccups. I would say brave students. There only was online guidance. We couldn't see each other presentially. Host university assistance was also only online. Classes were online. Well, anyway, you all know a very specific time period. Okay, now we are here, 2023, and we're looking into the future. What I just told you, there is a growing number of students coming to the Netherlands and probably all over the world. There is actually a new situation. The world has changed. We were all in shock. Everything has had to change. We had to adjust. We had to build resilience in that respect. What happened is that the students who are studying abroad right now were like between 17 and 20 years old during the pandemic, the time where they usually had many social contacts, were together, could gather together. They were locked into their rooms. They had to be at home, and they were actually not used to go out. And what happened is that we already saw that last year, but also this year. Some of them are kind of afraid, have anxiety to go out. They're used to get to do everything online. They are used to change their schedules, their IDs all the times. But we have to go back to the normal situation and go out. So that is basically the biggest challenge, in my opinion, to get the students out of their rooms, to gather again, to do things together, to make friends in person and not online. The personal guidance in that respect, also from my side, is back. And the host university introductions, presential, are back. So I think we need also, as support actions, we need to find a new balance. The host universities, they organize hiking excursions, wellness meetings. This is very important to to get into. So I will go on that in the next slide. So this is actually my conclusion for the moment for building resilience. Students need to relate with fellow students. They can join groups, whatever groups, everything is offered in events. But also they have to take care of their body. They have to go out. They need to take a walk when they feel distressed. It's not something to stay in your room, but go hiking, practice mindfulness. And there are many options in the Netherlands to go out. And what I told before, it really depends on the host universities to help the students, because I'm just in Utrecht in my office. I can take care of a lot of things, but in person, I only see the students twice per year. But the universities offer a lot of options to go out. And there is what is called the Erasmus Student Network. Erasmus is an exchange program in Europe, and there is a vivid exchange of students because Erasmus stands for an agreement between universities in Europe where all the credits are equal. It's called ECTS. So students can go out to all the countries in Europe, and the ESN network, the Erasmus Student Network, is helping students to socialize, to go out, to take excursions. So that is really a very nice opportunity. What I can do myself is the following. Since last year, I have a subsidy to give all the students a museum card in the Netherlands. And this means that they can go to basically 400 museums. Of course, they don't have time to go and visit many museums. And I offer them 2 excursions. So one excursion is to the north of Amsterdam, and the other excursion is close to Maastricht. All the students can join those excursions. It's on a voluntary basis, so they can mingle. So the groups can even, the UCEAP groups from Utrecht, Wageningen, and Maastricht can see each other during those excursions, then can stay in each other's rooms or get together for a whole weekend. So that is what I can contribute in going out. And this is very important. Here in bold is avoid negative outlets. And this is predominantly stay on your own, just look inward and have negative feelings. They have to avoid that. And so we try to help that in several ways. What I say during orientation, that was also mentioned by Cesar, help each other. For the first time, when we have the orientation, students from different campuses or even from the same campus see each other for the first time. So they get together already, and I always tell them, help each other. And also be proactive. What happens in the Netherlands is you have to be very independent as a student. Nobody will help you. So if they have any academic problem, social problem, they have to ask their questions. There are no stupid questions. When they start studying, they take courses in the 2nd or the 3rd year where the full degree students already know what is expected from them. So no stupid questions. That's what I say always. Be proactive, be alert. There's something I would tell about the negative outlets. There could have been, in preparation of study abroad, there could have been parents who are what we call in Europe curling parents. Well, you probably know this sport, curling on ice, where you just push a little bit to get the puck forward. Curling parents try to avoid trouble for their kids, whereas, in my opinion, the students get more independent if they also encounter problems and solve them by themselves. Well, anyway, I would like to stop here and give the floor to Neil. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. So it's been said that no plan survives first contact with the enemy, or as memorably rephrased by Mike Tyson, everyone has plans until they get hit for the first time. And I think this quote is so apt for study abroad. It's imperative to make a plan, but participants also need flexibility to alter the plan if necessary, which I believe is a part of growing and increasing resilience while studying abroad. This is a little about our study center in Japan. I work as a program assistant at UCEAP Tokyo Study Center, located in Tokyo, Japan. We provide support for all incoming UCEAP participants on Japan programs, approximately 300 per year. As Caesar and Color have already covered, our students face a variety of challenges in Japan, in addition to any issues they're already dealing with prior to their study abroad program. You can see some of these on the slide. And blending in versus sticking out. As Japan is considered a largely homogenous society, this can cut both ways. It can definitely be an aspect of study abroad here that requires creativity, flexibility, perseverance, and resilience. I believe that an aspect of strengthening resilience in study abroad is facing struggles, adjusting expectations, pivoting, and seeking help or support to safely navigate what might be largely unknown waters. I've chosen to focus specifically on two aspects of resilience: support and connectedness, or group resilience. So how do we help students to know what support is available to them, and what kinds of specific support does TSC, the Tokyo Study Center, provide? First, we prepare. We want to know about the students, what information they're being given from other sources, and we also need to manage our own information sharing. We try to take all opportunities to learn about the students. In particular, the mental health webinar covered general characteristics of the current generation of university students. This was pre-pandemic, so I'd be interested to know if there's been any updates on this. But at the time, as none of us are Californian or American, knowledge of the current generation and general group trends has been extremely helpful in supporting students. We take the same courses offered to students, such as the health and safety course, so we know what information is being shared with students prior to arrival. We've had regular regional meetings on a variety of topics, and that's been useful to understanding challenges specific to our country or unique to our region. All of this preparation helps us to be more effective in our support. Secondly, we highlight resources available to participants. Support or resources can be conceptualized as protective factors. Listed on the top left are general broad support categories where participants can go for support or assistance, and we need to make sure participants have a good handle on this multi-level support system available to them. In our pre-arrival and on-site orientations, we covered the broad categories shown in the bottom right. During our discussions for this presentation, we came to understand that we all cover the same general broad categories and topics. So this first on-site orientation is extremely key in terms of highlighting support systems and as an opportunity for making various connections. And I'd like to share some of the aspects of our on-site orientation relating to support and connectedness. So did you know that California is roughly the same size and length as Japan? For me, that means when our students from the different UC campuses meet for the first time at orientation, it can be similar to a person from Hokkaido in the north meeting an Okinawan from the tropical south. So there's going to be differences in their life experiences and understanding of the world. And the group can be a very diverse mix. Accordingly, one aspect of this orientation is to facilitate group bonding, and we emphasize that they are Team UCEAP, looking out for themselves, but also looking out for others. For example, for this introductory slide, we tell the students, you are not alone. Other UC students are participating in this program. I hope that this orientation will help you connect and make friends. Like your friends in the US, they will make your experience in Japan more special and memorable. This is our emergency card. It's double-sided. One side showing various emergency phone numbers and the other side has emergency phrases. It's very bright yellow on purpose, so it's easy to find in a hurry. And we make this available via PDF before arrival to Japan, and we hand out a physical copy to all students at the orientation. We instruct them to keep it in their wallet or phone case. And it's come in handy when a student had a bloody nose on the train and couldn't speak. The train station staff called us to explain the situation. And it also helped when a student lost their wallet. The police used the card to contact us. Throughout the orientation, we stressed the need for setting goals and focusing on having a balance between academics and experiencing life in Japan. We want students to understand that they need to prioritize in order to have balance, to know what's important to them and what they want to get out of their study abroad experience. We also share a video message from a previous Japan alumni. Sorry, that's senpai is the word for alumni, someone who's gone before you. And it's very effective, actually. It's good for the students to hear from one of their contemporaries rather than just from us. And these 3 points are the points that that alumni shares with them. This slide about maintaining your GPA is nearly one of the last slides that we share in our on-site orientation. And I'd like to share the script that goes along with the slide. So this is the script. Take a look at the 4 points on how to maintain your GPA. Try replacing the part living in Japan at the end of the first bullet point with studying at UC. So it would say, except that there are distractions when studying at UC. That will make you realize that you have gone through similar challenges in the past and you've maintained your GPA successfully. You're well equipped to go through a similar challenge in Japan. We hope to be a resource for you to go through that challenge and be successful. End of quote. I believe this slide helps to ground students a little. It reminds them that they are definitely capable. They already have skills and a level of resilience that they might have lost touch with a little in the face of so much new. Maybe because I've been here too long in Japan, or maybe because fitting into the group and choosing behaviors accordingly is such an emphasized aspect of Japanese culture. The interplay between resilience and group connectedness is extremely interesting to me. I strongly believe that when students are faced with difficulties, having a level of group connectedness is key to being able to roll with the punches and growing with their resilience. And rather than struggling alone, being a part of the group can still be a place to grow in resilience. And it has the added advantage of group problem solving and information sharing. I'd like to share 2 group resilience case studies. The first is case study 1. They were a student who had close to 0 Japanese skills and a food allergy. Serious enough that they needed to carry an EpiPen with them. They happened to make friends with a heritage speaker, which was helpful when eating out, and they used Google Lens function to read food labels and other Japanese signs. They had 2 experiences of lost property. The second time I worked closely with them to submit a police report, follow up with bus companies and other places over the phone. And in the end, they got their property back, which after talking to Color and Cesar, I realized is very unique to Japan, possibly. Anyway, during this time, this student maintained a high level of positivity throughout, while also understanding their belongings might not be returned. And when we caught up with this student towards the end of their program, they said they had enjoyed their time in Japan. And from my observation, they successfully navigated challenges such as their food allergy and lost property, I believe partially due to their connectedness to a group. The second example is a student with a lack of connectedness. They arrived a number of days late to their program, and even though they were actually located in the same dorm as some of the other UCEAP participants, not being there for the initial on-site orientation and those first few days meant they unfortunately missed key opportunities to connect. When we talked on Zoom, the student was quite distressed, felt isolated, hadn't been able to complete necessary administrative steps, and was requesting information for Lira mental health services and was also considering withdrawal. In this case, we provided the information requested, and Kayo-san worked with the student and others on the program to try and connect them up. They went on to complete the program. So both of these cases occurred post-pandemic, and the second case in particular highlights some of the issues we are facing as we support students this year. Firstly, there's a higher rate of no-shows to on-site mandatory arrival orientations. This definitely impacts students' opportunities to connect, and this can lead to much larger long-term issues, particularly academics related. We're also seeing two distinct patterns so far with students who have lived through the pandemic and are now coming on study abroad. Either the adversity or challenges they faced means they are strongly resilient and can take things in their stride when they first arrive, or the opposite, when they face even a small bump in the road, it throws them for a six and it's hard for them to find a way past the struggle. And thirdly, online possibilities really cut both ways. Students have become very used to meetings being recorded, so they can have the choice to access it later, but this seems to have diminished their attitude toward the importance of attending in-person meetings or gatherings. On a positive note, we support students, some who are located hundreds of kilometers away from the TSC office, and students are now more likely to request a Zoom meeting to sort out things. So in some ways, we are able to be more connected in a more immediate way with students far away. Finally, in Japanese, the commonly used word for resilience is kaifukuroku, the strength or power to recover. I believe this is essential to understanding resilience. Power or strength is measurable and can increase or decrease. Facing challenges or struggles or unique situations while on study abroad is a way for participants to gauge their powers of recovery and to hone or increase their strength in resilience. Providing them with continued support and resources during their study abroad program helps cushion and provide backup and a little extra oomph when their power might feel lacking. Levels of connectedness or belonging to a group can also impact the study abroad experience immensely. And I'm handing it over to our intrepid leader, Cesar, for the conclusion.
Thank you, Tenille. Thank you, Carla. Lastly, we want to share some reflections that we have had while putting together this presentation. Studying abroad involves entering a cultural change process, and as international education staff, we can offer clarity and assistance along this path. Resilience is not an innate trait, it can be learned and developed. Orientation, services, and activities can favor resilience of students during study abroad. And anticipating what challenges or location pose will help us to identify what stepping stones need to be provided to students. With this, we conclude our presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. And we move on to the question and answers time. If you have any comment, any questions, please let us know.
Virginia's made a nice comment in the chat. She said, we have a similar term to culling parents. The similar term in the US is helicopter parents.
Yeah. Yes, nice one.
Here's a question. Are there steps that you recommend students do to develop resilience before they arrive?
Well, I think attending the pre-part of webinar orientations are really important to have an introduction of what would be the challenges, what would be the level of preparedness that you need to study in study abroad location. I encourage them to learn about themselves, what they have, the problems that they have faced in the past, or any difficult situation they have faced in the past, and how they were able to overcome these bad experiences in the past. And this learning, this lesson that they have also will be useful for any tension, any cultural shock that they will likely have when they study abroad.
I think also be in touch with students who already went abroad to the same location. That would help immensely. I mean, being in touch with students of the same age, more or less, with the experience, that could at least diminish the anxiety or having information about what's happening on site.
Yeah, I have a good example of that. We've welcomed, I mean, over the next couple of weeks, we're welcoming the rest of the 4-year contingent. But a lot of them in this first program they weren't able to get on-campus dorm accommodation. And a group of them, I think they were from the same campus, but anyway, they formed a chat group or something, and they're all in the same off-campus share house. And so I think that really helped them know that they weren't alone. And they looked for the share house, and they're all in the same place now. So, yeah. I think too, they need to know themselves, like Cesar said, and they need to manage expectations. Like, I wonder if some students who come and then face difficulties straight away are really shocked because they haven't considered some of the issues that they might face when they arrive. Or, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, management of expectations is a good one because, for instance, when it comes to housing in the Netherlands, all students live in student houses, but it's becoming more and more difficult to find housing. So it's really important, I think, in that respect, the pre-departure phase is important to stress the fact that they register immediately as soon as possible for housing. Because it can get difficult.
Yeah. I think that I want to say it's UCSD. They have a really, I think it's SD. Please correct me if someone knows for sure. They have a really good website that deals with, like, it's a diversity sort of website that I think an alumni actually was really key to making it, but I've had a look at it, and it suggests different things that you should consider. For example, what's your personal belief system like? What's your support system like back home? And, various good questions that we would love it if students were thinking about that before they arrived. Because when they come, we know them just so briefly. Yeah, so it's good if they have a good handle on that kind of thing.
Yes, well, and related to managing expectation, it's also in some countries, for example, Chile, that it has a lot of bureaucracy, and the waiting times and the response times of host universities and providers and services in general, they could be take longer than what they used to in the US. So that is part of studying abroad, is understanding that you are living in a new cultural context, and things won't function as the same way as they do in the US. So have that in mind, that their waiting times are different, the bureaucracy is different. But there is time for everything, and they have our support or guidance of the study center. And it's also something that we have to balance, because probably we think we're giving the students all the useful information that they need to become resilient, but there is also against us the attention levels that they have. The attention spans is very short. So we have to keep reminding them that there are resources, and when the problems arise, that these are the ways to solve them, and try to transmit calm, that is, if you miss, if you understand something, or you're probably a little late, or you're waiting for a response to something that you request and it hasn't arrived, transmit calm that we are working on that, and this is the things working in the country.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the chat. Seems like managing expectations is a hot topic. Maybe that's our next speaking topic. Yeah, so there's comments about how to guide them on how to manage expectations, and managing expectations within a different culture is even more difficult. And also, sometimes it doesn't matter how many times something is explained to the students, they only hear what they want to hear. And yes, this UCB PDF, we actually found this like right at the start when we were starting to talk about this, and we were super excited that it existed. So yeah, if you don't know about it, UC Berkeley has a resilience well abroad guide. And someone else has kindly posted a link to the diversity, the UCSD resource, which I also I like it anyway. I like both of these a lot.
Yes, yes, me too. Yeah, maybe something about repeating everything all the time.
Yeah.
Some students, or many students, think that communication through emails is old-fashioned. So that is sometimes it's sometimes difficult to reach certain students who don't read their emails.
Yeah.
I saw that again with welfare check drill. So there are a couple of students who didn't even know how to deal with it. So that is something else. Repeating or finding different ways to communicate with individual students is sometimes necessary.
Mm. Oh, and this is a great comment too. Studying abroad can be the means or the game changer to help with managing expectations in the long run. It's hard for us to see students struggle, but perhaps in the end, the experience helps them with that ultimate goal. And agreed. Like, I think the first time I came on exchange, I thought that I would leave all my troubles behind, but because I came, all of my troubles came with me. So that realization, that's an adjustment of expectations right there. Like, I'm only going to be as capable of what I'm capable of. It's going to be the same. Yeah.
You mentioned something, Tenille. If students have like issues that are not solved, they think it will automatically be solved by going abroad. But sometimes it's even a boomerang. It's hitting them harder than they expected.
Yeah.
And then it's a challenge to build resilience in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I would also like to add about managing expectations. Sorry, it's definitely a good discussion starter. When they arrive too, I think sometimes, particularly for our three countries / areas, like they're dealing with language barrier, even for accomplishing very small things. Cesar gave a good list of them. And sometimes you go to do something and it turns out there's like more steps to it than you expected, and it goes on and on. And it, so sometimes I just characterize it as a game. So, celebrate a very small achievement that they made. Like, yeah, you leveled up, you know how to use the vending machine for your lunches now. You leveled up. But I don't know. I mean, that's once they arrive, we can help them with managing expectations. But yeah. And side quests. I've recently just decided that I'm going to add side quests to my language. Oh, 5 minutes to go.
So yeah.
Oh, Carla was saying that you were saying you have orange emergency cards, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
we have orange because orange is the color of the Netherlands. It's a kingdom. So we had William of Orange, who was the first king. And now everything with all events, soccer games, skating games, you name it, everyone dresses up in orange. So I thought the orange card is the good color.
Oh, good question too. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm not sure about the question from Virginia. I'm not sure if that's something we would do, but Stacey's question, is there anything you haven't tried yet to help build resilience but want to try?
Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe we should look more into what young students think nowadays. I mean, for me, there's more or less a generation difference. I'm not so young anymore, so it could be that we don't tell them or do the things that they need. So that can be something to learn, indeed.
Yes,
And
I think it's
yeah.
always evolving the ways that we approach students with new generations, how to be communicated more effectively, as Tenil mentioned, that probably presenting the different steps to complete a procedure or to have everything you need at the study abroad location as a game, and that could be something that would be interesting and get students engaged and seeing their actual progress while they're accomplish different tasks. Yes.
I agree with the point Lisa's making too. I think even when I send them out to do residence registration, I give them a mark, or not everybody, but we try and assist them by finding out what paperwork they'll need, and particularly residence registration. I tell them it's like a very clean DMV. It's like going to a clean DMV, and that helps them understand it better. I personally would like to run some kind of goal setting session with them, if that makes sense. Like, I think there's like stages to them getting to the point of actually arriving. And I think after they arrive, it's like quite a dose of reality and they could feel overwhelmed. So once they've settled in a little, like it would be nice if we had some kind of resource to send out to them and suggest, now you're feeling a bit more settled, it might be nice for you to like do a little self-reflection. Yeah.
Yes. And to comment on Virginia question, I believe the pre-departure watching even though if they're gonna join and connect and see in live, they are required to do so. It keeps recorded under UCEAP pre-departure requirements. There is a check mark that they need to complete to watch the pre-departure webinar orientation.
I mean, it is, yeah, the on-site orientations are mandatory. So yeah, sometimes we have to be the police, which isn't.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Oh, I think we've got a minute to go. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining our session and all your questions and comments.
Yeah. Thanks to Cesar for suggesting such a good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Session will
Thank you. Great session.